What's up, y'all? Talon here. Today I'm back with another series of high-level rank battles featuring top teams in the Regulation F metagame. Today I have a team created by Carmine. I have him linked in the description below. He shared a lot of teams in Regulation F, so definitely worth a follow on Twitter. I have the rental code in the top right of the video, as well as the PokePaste with the EV spreads for the team, if you want to try them out for yourself on Pokemon Showdown or the Battle Stadium ladder. But this team is really cool in that it's featuring an Iron Boulder. So we haven't seen a lot of Iron Boulder success, but it is one of the strongest Pokemon in the single battle format. So I wonder if we're overlooking something. That's what we're going to find out today. So if you appreciate these battles, the team breakdowns, and the teams, please give the channel a subscription, leave a like on the video as well as a comment. If you have any suggestions for teams in the future, if you have any thoughts on this team and the Iron Boulder's place in the format. So yeah, with all that being said, let's get into a breakdown of the team now. I think one of the ways to basically get an unconventional Pokemon to work consistently is to wrap it around a core that is proven to work and figure out how it slots in there and how those conventional Pokemon can be used to basically elevate the strengths of those unconventional Pokemons, and this is something I think this team does very well. As you can see, it has a setup Kingambit, so it already has the components of allowing for setup. With the Fake Out on the Rillaboom, the Follow Me on the Ogerpon, you're able to enable consistent setup on both the Kingambit and the Iron Boulder. And yeah, I think that's the general game plan of the team, is to set up one of those two Pokemon, maybe get a Tailwind up, and then sweep after the setup is complete. So this Ogerpon is fairly standard Follow Me Ogerpon with the Wellspring mask. So you have the better defensive Terra than the other Ogerpons, and you're able to go for the special defense boost as well as shed away your grass type, which can be a little annoying against things like Urshifu U-turn. But yeah, it's a very consistent Pokemon. This one is trained a bit more in speed and defense than you might be used to seeing. But you're still able to outspeed things like Jolly Urshifu and then go for a Horn Leech, which might not be knocking out because you don't have a lot of investment. But at least being able to hit it and then heal off is really appreciated. Knocking it in range for things like Sucker Punch or Grassy Glide from Rillaboom is of course super valuable. Rillaboom here has a Terra Ghost, that's the main standout here. So if you're in a Fake Out war with opposing Pokemon, you can just hedge your bets and go, okay, I think you might be faster than me, but I can Terra Ghost and just not even deal with that interaction and go for a Fake Out with impunity on that turn. This is a pretty fast Rillaboom, not a ton of defensive investment, but yeah, it is trying to outspeed things in Tailwind and go for those Wood Hammers and higher horsepowers. When you're not, and when Tailwind's not on the field, go for those really strong Grassy Glides. Assault Vest augments its bulk to stick around in the field for longer, as well as the Grassy Surge, basically enhancing the bulk of everything grounded on the team with the grassy terrain, which is really nice for a team with such bulk and basically going for setup. It means you're trying to have your sweepers on the field for a long time, so you do get more value out of that healing than your opponent is like to when they're losing Pokemon or switching them out a lot. Kingambit is a pretty cool unconventional set. Usually you'll see a black glasses on Kingambit when it's going for Swords Dance, Kowtow, Cleave, Sucker Punch sets, but this one is a Terra Dragon safety goggles one, so you're going for Terra Dragon to basically defensively be able to go survive any Sacred Swords, basically fighting type moves. You're able to go for a Terra in front of fire type, water type, grass type elemental moves, which are very common in the metagame. So as well as electric type moves from things like Raging Bolt, which otherwise wouldn't be Draco Meteor into a Kingambit under normal circumstances. So you can get the drop on them that way. You also have the safety goggles to basically be able to ignore Amoonguss. One of the biggest hurdles for a Kingambit once it's set up is if an Amoonguss enters the field and the Pokemon next to it can one-hit KO the Kingambit, is they can all, even if you can KO the other Pokemon, the Amoonguss can just Rage Powder away your Sucker Punch, and then they just knock you out. But having the safety goggles means that they can't do that. You'll ignore the Rage Powder, you can't get Spored, so it can really simplify those Spored states for you. Fluttermane is very simple here. It is a Choice Specs Terra Fairy set, going for Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast, most common after going for Terra Fairy. After you've weakened some opposing Pokemon, I think this one works a little bit better after, maybe you've gone for one of your sweepers early on. After your opponent has blown all their resources dealing with the setup, you just bring in Rillaboom, Fluttermane, and clean from there. Latias is pretty cool. This definitely isn't the only team using it, but it has gotten pretty popular this metagame with the Levitate combination with the Poison type. Means you're only weak to a Psychic type move after going for that option, and there's really not a lot of Psychic type attackers outside of Expanding Force Pokemon, so that's usually a pretty good neutral Terra in most matchups, except for like one or two teams in the metagame. Rocky Helmet, just very good. The Dragon typing, naturally resistant to the Water type, so Surging Strike Urshifu can't really just go for that freely against your Latias. They'll be going down to 50% if they do that, and then being knocked out by a Draco Meteor or a Mist Ball. Mist Ball is pretty cool. It has a, I believe, 50% chance to drop special attack by one stage, so good utility there. Draco Meteor is just generally a strong attacking option if you feel like Latias is going down soon. And then Tailwind to set up for your sweepers, the Kingambit, maybe a little speedier than you might be used to seeing on a setup Kingambit, but if you get Tailwind up, you can be going for Kowtow Cleaves against slower Pokemon instead of having to go for a Sucker Punch. Tailwind is also good for the Iron Boulder, which is very fast, but not faster than things like Flutter Mane notably. And Recover, lastly, is just a good option to keep the Latias train going after you've taken some chip damage. Go for a Recover and then get Tailwind up, twice in a battle. That can be really valuable. Now, of course, we have the star of the show. We have the Iron Boulder, which has not really been shining so brightly outside of single battles, but this one is trying to change that, basically. It is a clear Amulet set, so Intimidate from Incineroar could be a difficulty for it. It is a rock psychic type, so knockoff from an Incineroar could be annoying. You can go for a Terra Grass so that you're not weak to that anymore. Obviously, be careful at that point. You can just get Flare Blitzed, but usually they won't be reading that. So if you go for a Swords Dance, you'll be able to knock out Incineroar with Mighty Cleave. Mighty Cleave is generally going to be your main attacking option. And then Sacred Sword hits the steel types that would otherwise resist you, as well as any other difficult types that are not going to be susceptible to the Mighty Cleave. Swords Dance can really let your Iron Boulder get into position to sweep. You basically can go Ogerpon plus the Iron Boulder. The Boulder has pretty decent bulk, great speed, great attack, so you can go for the Follow Me, comfortably live most spread attacks. You don't have a ton of common weaknesses, not a lot of Earthquake in the metagame, not a lot of Snarl, so you can just go for that. Set up early, bring in Latias next, and go Tailwind, then sweep with Mighty Cleave. I think that's pretty strong. And you can also bring in Rillaboom, and because Mighty Cleave goes through Protect, you can go Fake Out, Mighty Cleave, just like pin some slot that is potentially a problem for you, and go from there. Overall, I'm very excited to be trying Iron Boulder on the Ranked Battle Stadium ladder today, just because I haven't seen a lot of it online in online tournaments or IRL tournaments, so I want to see how it fares, what makes this mon tick, and I think this is one of the cooler teams I've seen with it. So with all that being said, if you enjoy these videos, the teams as a resource, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and comment what other teams you want me to try. And let me know what you think of Iron Boulder after watching the video. So with all that being said, let's get into the battles now. Okay, this is wild. You might think I'm in like Great Ball tier. I'm in Master Ball tier. This opponent was like ranked around 1,000 at this point. So yeah, really cool team. They have Rampardos, Araquanid, Hatterene, Noindidi, Incineroar, the Matcha Gotcha guy, Sinistcha, and then Archaludon. Very cool team from them. No priority blocking. I think I might want to try and exploit that. Now, if they bring Incineroar, they're going to have to fake me out, or they're going to have to intimidate me, give me a boost that way, which I'm totally cool with. I can see Flutter Mane being pretty effective here, honestly. Like, very effective. I could just redirect with Ogerpon. I don't think I have to. I could see a random Covert Cloak on this team, truthfully. I don't think... Well... I guess Rampardos isn't that big of a threat. Might go double setup here. Might not be optimal, but it's way more fun. I'm going to go, I think, both my Fake Out Pokemon in the back. This is maybe opening me up to Incineroar a bit, but it's very good against Araquanid and kind of decent into Rampardos. Well, I am quite weak to Archaludon, though. But Archaludon probably has Heavy Slam to beat my Flutter Mane anyways, and I can't protect in Trick Room. And with no ability to lower their attack stats, I don't have Intimidate on this team, I think I'll just have to deal with it with the Follow Me, basically. Not the Follow Me. I'll have to deal with it with the Iron Boulder, which is a fun challenge. So Archaludon plus Kingambit. Okay, they could. That's interesting. Yeah, good lead from them. I feel like a Body Press is reasonably likely from them. Kind of just want to go... Yeah, this feels good, actually. I don't want to get Body Pressed. I honestly don't think a Body Press knocks me out, though, so I'm going to sacrifice my utility a bit on the Kingambit and just go for a Kowtow into the Sinistcha. I don't think this knocks out even if they do not Terra, but I think this forces them to go for a Body Press, and if they go for like a Flash Cannon or something into my Iron Boulder, that's something I'm okay with. But I do think this Swords Dance could be very important in this battle. They are going for a Terra. I don't think their Archaludon was particularly scared this turn. So yeah, they are going for a Terra on the Sinistcha. Into the Water Terra, fair enough. That is going to be very, very weak. At this point, I'm actually hoping they body press and knock out my Kingambit. The kowtow damage will be important. It should let me knock out them. Oh, they body press first, which doesn't knock out, as I said, is likely to be the case. So we get the knockoff off, and oh, they Machagacha right away. That's very interesting. I hope they don't burn me. Okay, there's 1 and 2. No burn. Very nice. Okay. I'd imagine Sacred Sword knocks out their Sinistcha. I'm pretty sure Mighty Cleave will knock them out very easily. Could see another body press. What am I worried about in the back here? Not a lot. I think a switch to Rillaboom is fair. Do I need to preserve my... They didn't go for Trick Room. That's super valuable. I think I want to... Honestly, I'm going to tempt them. If they're going to give it to me, great. But I think I should have a knockout with Mighty Cleave into the Sinistcha, which I do. Yeah, this is a very powerful Pokemon. With the Swords Dance up, we are able to take that knockout. And I don't think they have a KO into my... with Draco here. They go Dragon Pulse into me there, which is fine. They don't even 2-hit KO me, and I get a Swords Dance up. So I didn't switch out there because I felt, okay, Kingambit, if you target into me, that's a turn I'm not taking damage on the Iron Boulder, which I think is super important. They've also burned their Terra, which is really valuable. I can probably knock them out with Sacred Sword onto that guy. Oh, an Araquanid is probably not what you want to see, given I can just Mighty Cleave that for a KO. I don't even think I have to. I think I can just Sucker Punch the Archaludon and protect. I really don't see how they're going to handle this. I'm going to protect. Yeah, I could have probably knocked out the Araquanid, but I feel like I can just get a Sucker Punch off. Yeah, they were going to protect, but Mighty Cleave would have gone through that. But I don't want them to knock out my Iron Boulder just yet. Yeah, when I can get a Sucker Punch off and probably knock them out with another one. They Dragon Pulse into the Kingambit, which is a fair play, but at this point I can just bring in the Rillaboom and go for a Fake Out into the Archaludon. I guess if they are... So one way that could go wrong is if they are a Covert Cloak Archaludon. So in an effort to cover as many options as possible, I'm going to go Follow Me plus Mighty Cleave at the risk of demoralizing them. I could Sacred Sword the Archaludon, of course, which I think maybe makes it less likely for them to forfeit and get more Iron Boulder content, but I feel fine about this. Hatterene comes in, that's definitely folding to Mighty Cleave if they're not Sash. So yeah, basically trying to make my Iron Boulder untouchable. I think this is really a good showcase of this team. Turn 1, we led both our setup Pokemon. We were like, okay, choose one, and they led something that couldn't deal with the Iron Boulder very well, so we set that up. Went for an attack right away with the Kingambit, and although we lost to Kingambit, we were able to chip it into range for the Iron Boulder to sweep without Trick Room going up. Now, if Trick Room had gone up, I think we would have been fine with the Grass Terra. Didn't feel like they could deal a ton of damage to me or deal with Fake Out plus Follow Me cycling, but at this point, we are looking pretty nice. I'm going to go for one more Mighty Cleave, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a cancellation here. Their means to deal with the Ogerpon is just not there. So really cool team from them. Would have really liked to see the Rampardos, but unfortunately it was the Araquanid. Not quite the answer you want to see against the Terra Grass Iron Boulder. But I guess the Sacred Sword would have done a lot to the Rampardos too if they weren't going to get the Trick Room up. I think they definitely made a pretty bad mistake by not going for Trick Room there, but I feel like I did have counterplay even if they did. But the Rock type was just too tempting for them and they went for the Machagacha. If they get the burn, things could have gotten interesting. But pretty low odds of that. Both hitting the Machagacha and getting the burn I think is like around 18%, I want to say, so not the end of the world. Actually, is it 10% to burn? I should probably know that, but I do not. Yeah, let me know in the comments if it is 10% or 20% on Matcha Gacha. I just do not remember, but it's definitely something that's worth knowing. So, good game to my opponent. Had a very interesting team, but I think we got to show off the value of all those really strong pieces around our unconventional Iron Boulder, just allowing it to set up and take advantage of its really unique move, the Mighty Cleave, being able to hit through Protect and really simplify some game states after we've gotten the Swords Dance up and just basically tap a slot, knock it out, and just go from there and protect the Iron Boulder and do that the whole battle. Whoa, cool team from my opponent. They have 2 out of 3 of the Paradox Beast. They have their Raging Bolt and the Walking Wake, and then Entei. Don't have Gouging Fire, don't have that joining the team, but still a very effective Pokemon there. So, they also have Chien-Pao, Fluttermane, and Torn, so really a Sun-based team it looks like, just very incentivized to go for a sunny day. Rock type, not that great. I do think Latias could be quite effective here, for sure. Fluttermane definitely very effective as a lead against everything but the Entei. Problem is I don't have a great switch in against the Entei if they do lead that. That's a concern. I think I should be able to outspeed and hit them with an Ivy Cudgel. Yeah, I should be, regardless of if they have Sacred Sword though. So I might lean towards that. Yeah, that does seem pretty solid. I think Fluttermane will come in the back for me for sure. I want to deal with that Entei pretty proactively. I think Fluttermane in the back makes sense, plus Mighty Cleave in the lead, and then I guess Ogerpon in the back seems strong, just defensively. I'm not sure I'll get the most value out of... Well, Rillaboom could be really good against Fluttermane, actually. So I don't think I can afford to do that, though. I think maybe having the option of redirection against Raging Bolt, Sucker Punch from Chien-Pao might be the best, but I could definitely see us getting up and getting to an end game where Rillaboom would have been way more useful at just like knocking out Fluttermane than the Ogerpon redirecting would be. I think we could definitely see a Tailwind lead from them, which is why I led with the oh, Entei Chien-Pao is interesting. Okay. Sucker Punch, obviously a big threat against my Iron Boulder. I don't think... Let me check if Sucker Punch knocks me out. After Extreme Speed, it really might. But I have to imagine we should live a attack from... Chien-Pao might be tight, actually, on the Latias. That's definitely something I should know, but I sure don't. So, unfortunate. Okay. I don't really have a good switch in though, so I'm gonna go Tailwind and go for a... does Sucker Punch knock me out? It's gotta. Unfortunately, it really does. So if they go Ice Spinner into my Chien-Pao, good on them. Or if they go Ice Spinner into my Latias, good play, but I think I'm tempting Sucker Punch enough that they might not. If they Terra their... If they Terrastalize their Entei, that's fine because I'll be chipping them into range for a... Yeah, they go Sucker Punch. Does a lot. Wow, okay. But we do get the Mighty Cleave off, outspeeding the Entei and knocking it right out as we get the Tailwind up, so... Was that Banded Chien-Pao? That did a lot of damage. Like, holy smokes, that did a lot. Adamant. I guess if I Terra Grass, 60 to 70. They did a... I feel like they did more than that. No, yeah, that's just Adamant Chien-Pao, actually. Silly me. I think at this point I can just Draco and Mighty Cleave the Chien-Pao, and they can actually protect through that, so I'm pretty happy about it. Back Pokemon I feel like are well equipped against this Walking Wake, so I will just double into the Chien-Pao. And they kind of have to Sucker Punch. They are going for a Terra of their own. It could be Stellar Terra, but it is a Terra on the Walking Wake side. It is Terra Steel, fair enough. That does complicate things a little bit for me. But I think shouldn't be too bad, given I got Sucker Punch up. Yeah, they go for the Sucker Punch, knock me out, but we should be getting a Draco off, which will bring the Chien-Pao down the Sash, which is really what I'm aiming for here. But Terra Steel is definitely difficult on some level to contend with. We chip that in range of anything from the rest of my Pokemon though, which is good. Going for a Draco, which is eh. But given they went for Draco, I think we should actually beat them with Ogerpon Flutter Mane, I'd have to imagine. And they were a Life Orb. Okay, yeah, that I think frees me up to lock into Dazzling Gleam. Because Entei's gone. It could be Torn in the back, but I don't think that really matters. They could Sucker Punch. Yeah, Flutter in the back. How many turns of Tailwind do I have? Yeah, I think I'm just going to lock Dazzle. Follow me. Because they've gone for what feels to me potentially a foolish overcommitment on the Draco. I mean, they kind of had to knock out Latias, but at the same time, they really did not. So I'm going to go for Dazzle here. They kind of have to switch out if they want to do any type of damage. But they protect and probably go for a Draco, but I think I'm fine with that. Double protect, stalling out Tailwind, fair enough. But now I can go for a... Given I've shown Ivy Cudgel, like, can I not just go for... It really depends on who they have in the back, what I can go for here. If it's Raging Bolt, which could be, but might not be. Like, if I Follow Me Dazzle, what can go wrong? Could be Flutter Mane in the back, then maybe I lose. Ivy Cudgel, Walking Wake's not that bulky, but it is probably bulky enough to take this. Yeah, it has pretty good natural bulk. I'm going to go Follow Me. If I was Terra Fairy, I'd feel confident about this endgame, but I'm not so sure. I'm going to go Follow Me just because I feel like they could go Sucker Punch here. I could have caught this switch in with an Ivy Cudgel most likely. Furio Tenate. The Raging Bolt's fine, yeah. The Chien-Pao goes for a double protect, but does not land it. That's totally fine. I think Dazzling Gleam should get us here, since they have to go for a Draco Meteor to deal with my... Oh, that is Assault Vest. Yikes. Okay. Not over yet. Not over by any means. I think... I gotta imagine Ogerpon lives the Draco, but it's gonna be close. I'm 140 HP. Might not. Ogerpon... 140 versus Walking Wake. Draco, if they're timid... If they're modest, they have a 56% chance to KO, or 50. It's gonna be close. I think I have a chance to live Terra Steel though, so I might just go after that, truthfully. Gonna be close. Very close, I'd say. I'm just gonna attack though. They do not Thunderclap, so we should... I mean, if they're timid, they will not knock me out, and I'll... Ooh, that does indicate they might be modest, because I outsped them. But I think the Life Orb chip maybe gets me there. It's going to be close. It's going to be very close, because they had AV on that one. I do live, so... Toss up. Let me see... Yeah, if they were timid, they would have outsped me. So it's looking like we're going to get there. Yeah, this is why I'm not really a big fan of Walking Wake. It's like the damage is so close to being enough, but even the Life Orb Terra Steel, I think, has a chance to not knock out some Flutter Mane. So yeah, it is like in maybe a lower, I mean, definitely in a lower power format, it's good, but it's always going to be in a format with Flutter Mane, among other things, like the other just like overstated Paradox Pokemon. So Walking Wake is just like kind of the forgotten, kind of the worst of all them. So even with the perfect Terra, they were not able quite to get there, and the Iron Boulder, yeah, just I think leaving the Entei open there was a big mistake because I was really driving towards a Flutter Mane endgame in my mind from like turn 1, and they just let me do that so easily. I don't have a lot of ways to deal with Entei on this team, so I think that was a pretty substantial mistake on their part, just giving it up that easily when they had a pretty bulky Raging Bolt switch in the back. Okay, not expecting that. We have another Iron Boulder team. They have the Iron Crown, Urshifu, Indeedee, Iron Boulder, Tornadus, and Urshifu. No clue if that's single strike or Rapid Strike Urshifu, which would make Ogerpon either very good or a fair bit worse. But how do we beat? I think Latias is pretty good against everything except if they are the Terra Water or the Terra Dark Urshifu. That could be a problem. If they are, though, I can lead the Flutter Mane to decent effect. If they're not Focus Blast, actually, Kingambit does seem very good. Yeah, very good. I think I'm going to go Kingambit here. If I can get rid of their terrain, I can Sucker Punch stuff with a lot of immunity. And then should I go Latios or Latias? Probably no. I think I'm gonna go Flutter Mane. Playing this battle a bit boring, not bringing the Latias or the Iron Boulder, but this feels like what I should be going here. Just trying to dominate terrain. And if they're a single strike Urshifu, I have the Flutter Mane. If they're not, I mean, I should have them covered with my grass types pretty well. I think single strike is probably worst case and what I'm a little more worried about. It doesn't seem like they have any reason to set up a rain, so I'd expect it to be single strike. But it is Iron Boulder Torn as their lead. That's interesting. Okay. Weird. They have the Quark Drive active, and I feel fine about Swords Dance Follow Me here. Like, if they knock me out, fine. That's okay. But it feels more likely to me... Should I go Terra here? I think the Dark type's pretty critical for me. I'm just going to Swords Dance, Follow Me. They're going for a Terra of their own, which is fair enough. If I was sure they didn't have Sacred Sword, I would go... Okay, Dragon Terra. That's fine. I think... Let me run a calc, but... I imagine Kingambit has a... And without Black Glasses, I might not get there. On the Iron Boulder. Sucker Punch, +2. Oh yeah, I probably don't get there. Gonna be close. Mighty Cleave, so probably didn't have anything to worry about. Interesting. I could double protect. That's an option for sure. I think Sucker Punch might not knock them out, which is what I'm worried about. So... do I just want to let them take that knockout? Maybe. Maybe I do. I kind of want to Sucker Punch the Torn and Follow Me. Would they live that? Probably. Like, if they have any amount of bulk, they should be living that, unfortunately. Yeah, this is where Black Glasses would be way better for me. But it is what it is. I think I'm just going to Sucker Punch you and... I guess I'll Follow Me on the chance that they miss. But yeah, I feel like if you have Sacred Sword, you maybe go for it that turn instead of Mighty Cleave, but hopefully this knocks out. But oh, it does. Very, very cool. So should have protected Ogerpon, but I had an 87% chance to knock them out if they are only 4 defense EVs, but I could have easily seen them having some bulk there, so I wanted to, you know, hedge my bets on the chance that they missed or hit their attack, hit the Bleak Wind, and then go Sacred Sword, and they actually had it. So yeah, that was my intention there. Didn't quite go according to plan, but you know, I mean, it went exactly according to plan. I just wasn't really expecting to get that knockout. It is the Water Urshifu, so Rillaboom would have been way better here, which is fine. I think I am just going to... Should I Terra Dragon? Maybe. I think I'm just going to Terra Dragon. Close combat's so free, though. Yeah, Rillaboom would have been a lot better here, but it is what it is. I'm going to Terra Dragon, Kowtow. I feel like... Would you not switch here? No, I think this is a misplay if I switch. I'm making a weird play here. But I kind of expect them to either close combat. Ooh, Iron Crown. That's interesting. So I gone for a Terra Dazzling Gleam, which is probably a mistake, but they didn't bring in DD and they brought Iron Crown, which is probably going to work out for them. I am now wishing I Terra Dragon, but I expected like maybe close combat. Like I honestly thought close combat Bleak Wind would knock me out anyways, so I didn't want to waste that. But they did just go Surging Strikes and we're going to knock out their... yeah, we're going to knock out... Like, yes, we completely waste our Terra here, but given we weren't going to get a lot of offensive value out of our Terras, and now I think we do have an offensive lock if they are not Focus Sash on this, we should be fine. Like, I'm pretty sure I kowtowed that Tornado slot and the Iron Crown. So interesting idea not to bring the Indeedee, but definitely going to work out in our favor. Because we didn't bite on Sucker Punch. Like, I think without black classes, it was not a KO anyways, but yeah, now we are in super good shape against the Urshifu, which was, yeah, that's really good. I think now we have Fake Out Kowtow fairly safely. And in subsequent turns, I can Sucker Punch Grassy Glide. They have to be, I guess, Terra Ghost Urshifu Water would be interesting, but no, they go Detect. I think if you have it, you go for it that turn. So they are going to hit a Bleak Wind here if they connect on Rillaboom, but that won't knock me out because of the Assault Vest. They do double connect. We are healing a lot of HP on the Kingambit though. Let's see if we can get a little speed drop. Heck yeah! Now we're super KOing that Torn if they're not Focus Sash. They did a lot. They lowered the speed on the Rillaboom, which is fine. Oh, they weren't Focus Sash. Yeah, we closed then. Very nice. Now they can't beat us with a Grassy Glide, or they can't beat us with Aqua Jet, so we can always just Grassy Glide, Sucker Punch, I believe, with our +4 Kingambit. Let's check the conditions on the field. I think if they Terra out of a weakness to Grassy Glide, they still just fold the Sucker Punch. And they have to lock into Aqua Jet to survive. So yeah, we go for the Grassy Glide. No Aqua Jet coming out from them. And then Sucker Punch should be cleaning them up. Yeah. Yeah, really nice. I think it really did hinge on that Iron Boulder going down. If they do survive that, the game maybe gets a little trickier. If they have Sacred Sword, I think we might just lose. But I think staying in on the Kingambit turn and not just like playing timid in front of close combat and basically saying, okay, if you keep the Urshifu in, I'm going to take it with this Dazzling Gleam, as well as maybe whatever you switch in is going to take enough damage that I can beat it with. I mean, I was expecting Indeedee in the back, so I thought, okay, if I get this Dazzling Gleam off and they go into the Kingambit, they just lose because I'll bring in Rillaboom, set up the terrain after I've knocked out Indeedee, and then I can beat the Torn plus Urshifu, like exactly how that game played out. But instead it was the Iron Crown, so yeah, I wonder what's more optimal if the Iron Crown is in the back, but overall happy with how that game played out. I think good showcase of how you can deviate away from the Iron Boulder mode and pivot into the Kingambit, which is pretty strong against Tailwind compositions if you can get a Sword Stance up. All right, my opponent here has Entei, Indeedee, Ogerpon, Regidrago, Goldengo, and Whimsicott. So super offensive Tailwind team with potentially 2 Follow Me options for a bunch of spread attackers. Very dangerous for sure. Goldengo unfortunately walls Iron Boulder and just knocks it out with both of its stabs, which is a problem. So I've got to figure out how to deal with that. Regidrago just tanks the Latios. I got to figure out how to deal with that lead for sure. Yeah, Regidrago is really that guy, huh? I could lead Latios. I think Kingambit is probably what I have to lead, unfortunately. They're just going to do so much damage with the Regidrago, I think, so got to figure out how to deal with that. Unfortunately, we will, do our best to figure something out. I think I need to get rid of the Psychic Terrain, most likely, and then probably has to be Ogerpon in the back, but yeah, this feels like a pretty well-built Tailwind team to go up against, so not super confident about it. We will see how it goes. I think we might have to play pretty aggressive on the Indeedee coming in and out. to get the most value out of our Kingambit, or just forego Swords Dances and go right for the Kowtow Cleaves. But of course, given they have a bunch of Follow Me, we might not even be able to get that going. Entei and Ogerpon, solid lead. Really good against the Kingambit and the Fluttermane, truthfully, so not sure what to do about that. I might just try and knock out Ogerpon right away, honestly. Yeah, that's going to be tricky. I'm going to Sucker Punch and Moonblast that, I think. I'm going to play pretty aggressive here. I think very low likelihood of actually winning this game based on the lead, given they have Entei and I didn't bring any of my Pokemon to beat the Entei. And clearing out the Ogerpon is going to be pretty difficult, but if I can cheese them with Moonblast, Sucker Punch, and knock out the Ogerpon before it moves, then I at least open up their Entei to getting knocked out by my Ogerpon later in the game. But they are locking into a Terastallization early, which I think is smart if you are going the Ogerpon route, which they are. And yeah, I think they probably could. That's more indicative of them attacking, but they might just take a double knockout this turn, so it might not end up mattering. We will see though. We get the Sucker Punch off, which is valuable damage. I think if we had Terra'd, maybe a Moonblast would knock out. I mean, we'll see. Ooh, yeah, would have gotten there. So they are going to get a double knockout most likely, which is annoying. Oh, they Ivy Cudgel into the Kingambit, which will not KO, but... Oh yeah, maybe expecting a Terastallization there. I think that works out very well for us though. So that kind of frees us up to go into the Ogerpon, I think. They were faster on Fluttermane. Yeah, I think this is just pretty safe. I want to say Ivy Cudgel knocks them out, but I'm not certain about it. Could be Whimsicott here. Whimsicott would be annoying, but if they do that, I just go for Protect Switch, I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to max out damage here. I don't think I knock out Entei unless I go for this, so I'm going to go Moonblast into Ogerpon, even though it's probably going to Spiky Shield here, and then Entei most likely switches out if they have a switch in, but even if they do that, I think that's fine because I can... Well, Indeedee in the back would be annoying. I think I probably should have pressed my advantage a bit more here and gone Moonblast into the Entei slot and Ivy Cudgel, but Gholdengo came in, so I think that's actually not correct. Okay. I believe Terra Water Ivy Cudgel will knock out the Gholdengo in 2 hits, unless it's a Citrus Berry one. So glad I went for that. But I think, yeah, that first turn was definitely an open team sheet thing. I feel like if they just go Sacred Fire, they're pretty safe. We do knock out the Ogerpon there. Ivy Cudgel's going to do a lot and maybe force us to... will they Choice Banded Entei? I feel like probably... No, I doubt it. Ivy Cudgel going to do a lot. Ideally, it brings it in range of a Moonblast, but I'm not expecting it to. That's going to be close. They are leftovers. That's going to be close on Moonblast, but I doubt it. We'll see. We will see for sure. Indeedee out. That's fine. Because defense, like, they don't have a knockout. They have used their Terra, so I can just double into the Indeedee, I think, unless they're Thunderbolt. Could you Trick Room here? I think I just always go for Ivy Cudgel into Gholdengo, and then should I switch or stay in? I think I probably just attack into the Indeedee. No real reason. I think what they... Oh yeah, they don't attack with the Indeedee, or they don't follow me with the Indeedee, leaving the Gholdengo open, so very glad I didn't double into that. Probably hoping for some level of aggression to get them back in the game, but yeah, I just played this game. I don't really want to say well, but I just played it really aggressively. And so yeah, the plan there was to go for a really aggressive play, try and live the Ivy Cudgel double up, and then maybe live a Moonblast the next turn and make the game hard for me, but given I had that knockout regardless, that works out fine. Trick Room going up could be good for them though. could be good for sure. I think I can just follow me. Spiky Shield switch, I want to say, is good. Do I have to? I guess Trick Room could be a problematic situation for me. High Horsepower, I think, gets me there, though. I think I just Ivy Cudgel into the Entei and Moonblast into the Indeedee. Yeah, they're going to follow me. They couldn't afford to like Helping Hand or something, and I think they need to Sacred Fire Burn my Ogerpon, which opens up the... Yeah, they predict a Protect, which does not come. Get the burn. But my idea was there was, okay, I guess Trick Room's going to go up no matter what, but if they burn the Ogerpon, and I have to still not KO the Indeedee, which is like a big if, they might still go down. And then I knock that out with Moonblast, and then I still have my Flutter Mane. I can just go for Moonblasts, plus Ivy Cudgels, and even though like we're not KOing the Entei, we still have Grassy Glide in the back, we still have high horsepower if Trick Room is still up, so I do feel pretty fine about how that endgame was played. The early game was pretty aggressive on my side, and Moonblast obviously would have won. I think a Follow Me Moonblast, Follow Me Sacred Fire probably just wins them the game, but you kind of do have to play aggressive in those matchups that look a little trickier, and I think that's what we did there to good effect. But if we play that set out over a couple battles in like open team sheet, I am super certain we lose the majority of them. So that is the glory of best of one ladder, though. You can cheese that win and they don't get to hit the rematch button. They have to hope they queue into you like later on, which that was actually the last battle of our session, so not going to be the case here. Interesting team there. Whimsicott is... Yeah, there was like, looked like double redirection plus the Goldango and the Regidrago were the modes I was a little scary of. I was a little scared of, but didn't end up leading with that. Led with a little bit more neutral lead, which caught my adjustment really well. But because of the double up trying to catch a Terra, thinking my game plan would just completely revolve around the Kingambit, I was able to win. And I think, honestly, I don't... Like, given you have Indeedee in the back, the Kingambit is really never going to go off that hard because of the ability to just switch in Psychic Terrain. So I think there was definitely a misplay there on their end, but we definitely take those. Okay, opponent has a Tailwind Rain team, it looks like. So setting up Rain Dance with Tornadus for the Urshifu and the Electroshot Archaludon, most likely. I don't love Kingambit here. Don't hate it, but don't love it. Iron Boulder, I think, is not bad, but maybe not that good. Latias, I think, is actually quite strong. It almost forces them to lead Flutter Mane, which I think I can exploit. I feel like Flutter on my own is pretty strong, along with a Ogerpon. Actually, I like Ogerpon Kingambit again. I think it's pretty strong against this sort of team. I can usually... Not guarantee, but usually can like get a Sword Stance up with some level of consistency, and then Rillaboom in the back to deal with the Flutter Mane and the Urshifu. And then, gosh, the Archaludon's always a challenge, but I think I will go with the Flutter Mane mode again. I don't think Latias is particularly strong at mirroring Tailwind against Tornadus. I can get taunted, like I can get forced into Terra by Flutter Mane. So that is something I'm a little worried about. So I think I will go again with the priority mode instead of the Tailwind mode. All right, they lead with Archaludon and Tornadus, which kind of to be expected. Feel like Bleak Wind, Swords Dance or Bleak Wind, could be Rain Dance, Electroshot actually, but I feel like Follow Me Swords Dance very safe here. Unless they're Terra flying, they don't have a knockout on Ogerpon, and even then it's probably pretty close. And Archaludon probably can knock me out if they hit a Bleak Wind. But if they go for a Bleak Wind, like they might just be going for setting up Electroshot. I'm not really sure here. But they don't go for a Terra on either. Which is maybe a little scary, but fine. They taunt, fair enough. I can't always Terra out of my weakness though. I think if I were them... Oh, that's really interesting. Going for Electroshot does not feel right to me. Unless you're Power Herb. Okay, yeah, that feels weird to me. I'm super fine with that. Yeah, I'm just gonna That's super weird. No need to Terra anymore. I think I'm just gonna go... I could go Terra Dragon if I was feeling spicy about it. Bleak Wind feels reasonably okay to tank. Could switch in Rillaboom. I think I... Do I want to do that yet? I think so, yeah. I think I can just go for the Kowtow, potentially even knock out this Archaludon. Like every turn they are not attacking with Torn, they're not setting up Tailwind, which is good for them because they're delaying it, but given I'm just have priority, like eventually they're going to have to go for a Bleak Wind and risk lowering my speed and raising my attack. And I think Ogerpon's a little more valuable than Rillaboom. They go for Rain Dance this turn, which is, yeah, going to be valuable for Urshifu, but I just brought in my Rillaboom, you know? That does a lot of damage, but I'm going to heal off slowly. And with Kowtow Cleave, I'm honestly hoping this, yeah, doesn't knock out. Stamina could be annoying. Stamina plus the boost could be annoying. Could go Fake Out setup, though. That took that a lot better than I expected, honestly. Okay. Probably setting up Rain here, I'd have to imagine, but maybe they go Bleak Wind, and if they do, I kind of want to just deal with this Archaludon now. Torrent's kind of useless though, right? It's always just going to fold to like a Sucker Punch or something. Yeah, I'm going to Kowtow. Because if they Bleak Wind, again, they are risking lowering my special attack. Or lowering my... Yeah, so we've raised their defense by 2 stages, and they've healed a bit with grassy terrain, so I imagine the Kowtow is going to be pretty close to a knockout, but not if they raise my raise me up here. Oh, you hate to see it. So yeah, so that's one of the reasons Kingambit is effective against Tailwind. Like, with all these grass types, they do at some point have to go for Bleak Wind, or they're just going to get out damaged. So eventually, like, they are just going to have to risk that 20% chance I get up to a +2 additional boost on Kingambit, and just, like, go to town. And that's really what happened here. Yeah, that's tough for them. I should have a knockout with Sucker Punch onto everything except for Flutter Mane. And if they're not booster energy, like, I'm chilling here, I think. Okay, booster could protect. So special attack, boosting, it's fine. Water Ogerpon in the back's looking very good. Sucker Punch should knock out Torn, and I don't think Dazzling Gleam's a KO, so I'm gonna go for Sucker Punch should knock out Torn, and then I should just take the damage with Dazzling Gleam, right? Are you Focus Sash Torn on this team? I kind of doubt it. I should always be able to 2-hit KO you, though. Yeah, interesting spot. They could switch out the Torn here. They could not attack, like they could protect with Flutter Mane, which we do call. So I went for Grassy Glide instead of Woodhammer on the chance that, like, Sucker Punch, they're Focus Sash Torn, or somehow they live. I doubt they will, but if they are Focus Sash and they knock me out, I would want to at least chip the Flutter Mane. Yeah, that's... If you were... I mean, I am Safety Goggles, but if I was Black Classes, that would probably be a KO, which is why I tend to prefer Black Classes over Safety Goggles. The utility is just, like, way better in more matchups, but... Yeah, I think this works out very well. Oh, Arcanine, that's really not what you want to see. That's not what you want to see, my guy. They ever set up Tailwind even? No Tailwind, right? No Tailwind at all. Which means my Ogerpon will always outspeed you. So, let's just Woodhammer this Flutter Mane and protect. Like, I'm pretty sure Sucker Punch Grassy Glide just knocks out Flutter, but I don't want them to go for a protect, so I'm covering a double protect potentially with the Woodhammer, like a failed double protect. Maybe I could have just gone for a Grassy Glide into the Arcanine to guarantee some damage, but I think that's falling to Sucker Punch, and if they lock into Extreme Speed, we will just win. Yep, they do lock that. They can't beat the Flutter Mane now, so as long as I beat their Flutter Mane, we will close this out. As long as I preserve Terra Fairy, I'm good, right? How can I lose this at this point? Going Flutter Mane doesn't make sense. I think I just have to knock out their Flutter. So with Rain up, I should beat that with Terra Ivy Cudgel. And if they go for an Extreme Speed into my... let's think this out, no reason to throw here, but Terra Water Ivy Cudgel knocks out Flutter Mane with Rain 100% of the time. I'm certain of that. They revealed Booster Energy, they're not Focus Sash. If they double up into my Ogerpon with Extreme Speed, I guess Dazzling Gleam could be something of importance. Huh. Do I think Sucker Punch KOs Flutter Mane here? I think it might not. So I'm going to try and tank this Extreme Speed plus Dazzling Gleam combo, but if they survive this, I could lose, for sure. Oh, actually, no, this was a misplay because I have Flutter Mane in the back. I think what I should always do is Sucker Punch the Flutter Mane and Ivy Cudgel the Arcanine, because as long as I get any damage into the Flutter Mane, their booster special attack, I'm a timid Flutter Mane, I outspeed them. Like, absolutely. So, given that, I should just be targeting damage into the Flutter Mane with the Sucker Punch, and then just if they for some reason don't attack with the Flutter Mane, then I get the knockout on the Arcanine. So I think that was a misplayed endgame because I have a faster Flutter Mane than them and they're locked into Extreme Speed. But I think they also would have had to most likely crit one of Extreme Speed and Dazzling Gleam on the Ogerpon. So at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal, but definitely could have gotten unlucky and lost this one. Should probably forfeit. Yeah, they were choice banded. I want to do the calc. I have like, the reason I was confident I wouldn't go down is I have a lot of defensive investment in this Ogerpon, so I'll calc that really quickly, but I really doubt it was going down. It's like 140 HP, I think, 156 defense, like it's super bulky. Extreme Speed was doing 67 to 79 HP, so with a crit it would have been a roll to KO us. So felt pretty good about that, but I could have gone just a step further and been a little bit better there. I didn't know my Kingambit rolls, otherwise obviously I just go Sucker Punch into the Flutter Mane, and then that's probably a confirmed knockout. But because I didn't know that, I didn't really want to risk everything. But looking back, I didn't even need to knock it out. I just needed Flutter Mane to be in range of a Dazzling Gleam or a Shadow Ball from my Flutter Mane, given they were booster special attack. So that will do it for our battles featuring Iron Boulder. I think the Iron Boulder did get to shine in the games that it did get brought, but generally against Tailwind teams, it's decent, but you do have to play a little bit more aggressive, whereas the Kingambit, you can kind of secure a little bit more advantageous situations where they have to lean into Bleak Wind against your water type or your grass type core to give you potentially Defiant boosts, which are really game defining. So I do like the Iron Boulder a lot against the balanced teams, against the Trick Room teams. It has a lot of natural bulk, a lot of ability once the Swords Dance goes up to just like close a game out with either Icy Wind Flutter Mane or Tailwind Latias, or just like the redirection or fake out support from the other Pokemon. But against Tailwind teams, like outside of the Tornadus, it can really struggle to make itself known, but against balanced teams, as I said, are really, really cool Pokemon. So I do think there's more to Iron Boulder than we have seen even today. I think it's a pretty solid Pokemon. I think there's definitely someone that's going to crack it and make like the really good Iron Boulder team that's going to be annoying to play against. So looking forward to that. Definitely was impressed by Iron Boulder in this session. If you enjoyed the battles with the team, please subscribe to the channel. The Pokepaste and the rental code, of course, in the description of the video, as well as the team creator. Check him out on Twitter. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace, y'all.